It's story time. Anyhow, 2 years ago, I went and I did a biopsy on my breast. But first, before I got to the biopsy, I went and I did a mammogram, right? Because every year I have to do a mammogram because, when you're over 40, it's recommended that you do a mammogram. And right now, given the fact that so much is going on, I would recommend for a mammogram to drop to 35. Anyhow, I went and I did the mammogram, and of course, I was told that um, they saw something in my breast, and I should go and I should do a biopsy. And I was like, okay, not a problem. I went and I did the biopsy. Oh my God, like my breasts, they're so dense, like hard, like feels like when they were pushing the needle in my breast to do the biopsy, it's like, listen, it was really hard. Anyhow, did the biopsy, and you know, I went back to Florida because I came to New York. At the time, I was in Florida, and I came to New York to do everything, and then I went back to Florida, and basically, I traveled back and forth from Florida to New York at the time. So I said, okay. Anyhow, came back and I'm like, why I'm not hearing back from the doctor? Because, I need to know the results. I need to know what's going on. Anyhow, I decided that I'm going to call a doctor. Called him. I didn't get him because because my regular doctor, he's the one, my medical doctor, he's the one that has the results. So finally I called him. I remember this day I was at the laundromat, right? So I called him and I remember clearly it was really cold outside. And I was like, okay. I called him and I said, Doctor such and such, what are the whatever? He was like, they found something in your breast and you have cancer. I was like, oh, okay. Okay. Anyhow, that was that. At that time, I found him to be a little inconsiderate because something like that, if I was a doctor, I would call my patient in or have someone call my patient. Or when my patient called me, I would say, Miss such and such, Miss Bella, can you come to my office? I would be nervous, but at least I know that I have somebody who I can hug, to get over these emotions. Anyhow, he was insensitive. So I was there and I was at the laundromat and I was like, you know what? This is not going to get me down. I see what the devil is trying to do, but this is not going to get me down. So what I did my laundry. I called whomever. I called my boyfriend and I called someone else and I told them what was going on and they told me not to worry about it because I said, you know what? I'm not going to tell everybody because it's not good when you find out certain news. It's not good to tell a lot of people because some people they want good for you and some people they don't want so much good for you. And the ones sometimes that want good for you, I think they overreact. So at the time I'm like, no, I'm not telling my mother. I'm not telling I'm not telling certain people, and I didn't. Anyhow, I went home. Actually, I went to my aunt's house and I did my research, and I called the lab. When I called the lab now, they told me what it was. I called the doctor and I couldn't get the doctor, the one who did the biopsy, because, like I said, right now I'm not getting all the information. So now I decided to go back to the lab and get the paperwork and see what was going on. So, of course, it's not good to look up everything on Google, but that day I was a freaking doctor. I looked on Google. Remember, they're saying in both breasts. The left breast is the breast that they say that the thing is in. The right breast, just a little bit. Anyway, I did my own research, and this it wasn't that bad, but something is in there. Anyhow, of course, they told me that I have to call a surgeon. I called a surgeon and I went to a cancer facility, the cancer center. Went to the cancer center. I met with the doctor who's gonna do the surgery. Basically, whatever she was telling me, I was like ahead of her. Like I knew what they were doing because I did my own research and whatever. So what they would have done, they would have taken out, like scrape out wherever the C is, the cancer cell is, and whatever. Anyhow, I'm anemic. So I went and I did my blood work because you have to do pre-screening and everything. So I went and I did my screening. Day before the surgery, no one called me. Or it was 2 days before. I don't remember, but I think it was the day before, or 2 days before my surgery. No one called me. So my regular doctor now, my medical doctor, because this was the GYN doctor. I'm sorry, my head is all over the place. My GYN doctor, he was the one that was telling me all of these stuff. But then when I went to my medical doctor, my medical doctor said, Miss Bent, Bella, your blood, your red cells is down. You're at 8. So anybody who know what the BMI is know it's very low. So basically, he was telling me that he suggests that I build it up before I do the surgery. But I was so adamant because I wanted to be done and out. So I said, no, I'm gonna do it. Anyhow, when I called the surgeon, yes, because it was the day before, they told me that my blood work came back and it was too low. So they're gonna have to put off the surgery until such and such. This was the December, and I was supposed to do the surgery sometime in January, I think. Anyhow, the insurance that I had, that doctor no longer took the insurance when I was ready to do the surgery. So I couldn't do the surgery because then I would have to pay out of pocket or find a different surgeon. Anyhow, I ended up meeting this really nice doctor because I end up going to a hematologist. Now I end up at a hematologist. So I explained to them and I told them what was going on, and they said that they're going to set me up to see another doctor and to do the procedure and my blood work. And I have to, because my iron is very low, iron deficiency. And I was like, okay. So as time goes by, I started to pray, I started to fast, because at this point it didn't really kick in that I had cancer. No, it didn't. So I was like, okay, I really started praying and I started fasting a lot. And then I went back to Florida because I had to wait until June, because all of this was going on in January. So I had to wait to June for a next appointment. Are you listening? June. Anyhow, this is part 1. I want you guys to stay tuned for part 2. So follow, share, and like, and come over to part 2 so I can fill you in and tell you more about it.